Hey everyone, welcome to the Live Fresh podcast. This is Nathaniel, and I had the chance to sit down with Mr. Eric Gareau from Gareau Family Farms to chat about bringing back the local food supply chain and raising some ruminant animals such as cattle and their beautiful, delicious grass-fed meat products. Been wanting to chat with you for actually quite a little while. I've had the chance to taste some of your products that you make. Your grass-fed, 100% grass-fed meat, and I love the taste. And I understand that that it's an industry that's on a bit of a decline. But maybe you can put me in a more optimistic position.
I see. I understand where you're coming from as a global picture, because from my point of view, it's, I guess, all these industries, more of global industries that are running the market as we know it. In a certain sense, they're taking over the market in more of a marketing point of view, which is to make money instead of helping the little guy in their communities. On their global point of view, it's more of just a strictly business in manufacturing, right? Everything's an object to sell or make money off of. In the small farmers, I am assuming that I'm speaking for most of them. It's what their goal is to bring a product to. Hey, no, sorry.
It's good ambiance.
I got the dogs fighting
in the background,
and they're playing. I speak for most of the farmers today, especially with what we've been through with the lockdowns and stuff. The intent is to bring more stability and prosperousness to our communities. So that way we can self-sustain and become more aware of, let's help each other in this process to better our society.
Yeah, the sustainability aspect really does come in strong. I'm happy to see you and some others locally who are continuing, the way it was done 150 years ago of raising cattle in a way that is, it's gonna bring the most optimal product, the most optimal, highly nutritious meat, and humanely. I mean, when you treat them humanely, they're gonna produce a better product because, well, the cow's gonna be under less stress and he's gonna absorb his nutrients better. They're gonna produce more offspring. They're gonna, they're happy, right?
Out of love, right? It's like, look at just an example of these dogs. They're not tied down into a leash. They're free. They do what they want. That's why they're always happy and playful. Same with the cows on the field. If you take your drone and go, they're loose all over the place. So they got access to the pond, to the water, to the creek, grazing in the bush, grazing in the fields, and they have their hay if ever they need extra for feed. So it's like a big playground for them. So they're more like free range, but wild-ish, raised where they can actually do as they please.
Yeah, so it sounds like they have access to a variety of different grasses, different wild grasses and shrubs, and what are some examples of some of the things they might chew when they're actually living their ancestral life as a cow should?
Well, they even in the pond in the back here, they come here, not in this pond because they're more remote. We don't want them to cross the road there. But they go into the pond, they drink out of the pond, they eat the leaves off the trees, they'll graze in the grass over here, then they'll eat the blueberries. Just, it's oddly enough, but I mean, it happens, right? But mostly they're in the fields grazing all the grass and the bales themselves. And I'd say, no, it's mostly like how they feel that day. They react and do as they please, and that's a nice. If I bring you for a walk through the field and amongst the animals, you'd feel what I mean.
Yeah, you get to they're actually living a natural life. And I can tell tasting other meats and at the grocery store, I can tell when that in the taste, like if it's had like a lot of corn, well, it's gonna have that different taste. Or if it's
Yeah,
had too much hay, and, or
yeah,
if it's a winter slaughtered cow that's really just had way too much hay.
yeah,
Even just the smell of the beef is so much
yeah.
different. The taste,
The
it's far
marbling,
too lean
yes,
when it's come off of that lower quality forage. And yeah, and it makes a big difference in the nutrient profile, right? The
yeah.
vitamin E and
Oh,
the
big time.
K2, and which
Yeah,
is really important for the immune and bone function
yeah.
and all of
In the
that gut
processing of
health.
their stomachs and everything, right? It's more of a balanced out diet throughout the whole, let's say, farm life by being free range versus being stuck in a stall where all you eat is what we give you, right? And that I'm a very high believer of energy, right? So if you give love to something, it just it just grows and feels better, and the let's say quality, we're talking in terms of meat, but the quality is there just because of the different environment of energy they're living into,
Yeah, they
which
often say you are what you eat, but you are also what your food eats, right? So it comes again,
yes.
and I like how you touched on the aspect of energy. It seems that lately with the ongoing various health crises that are happening, everyone just feels a bit tired. I've been noticing that. People, they don't have the energy they used to. You look at pictures of, my grandpa when he was 20 years old, when he was my age, he was huge. He was built. I mean, yes, they spent more time outside and they likely lived more active lifestyles, but I think they also had a better access to quality ruminant animal meat. I mean, I like to say ruminant because like your cattle, they have rumen, they have multiple stomach to digest and
Yes.
saturate the double bonds on
Yes.
those omega-6 fats. And
Yeah.
so they create a very high quality saturated and monounsaturated fat.
Yeah.
And for humans, there's so many implications with what those fats can do. It's important to be able to create cholesterol and our testosterone, and which is a male and a female hormone. They're very important for
Yeah.
both sexes. And
Development.
and again, getting back to when you touched on energy, it seems that all of these diseases are coming from a drop
A
in our
low
energy
vibration.
levels. Yeah, our
Yeah.
energy levels are dropping, and we're consuming a lot more of the non-ruminant animals, the poultry, the pork, even the farmed fish. That they're nothing like the wild fish. It's just those pellet feeds with the corn, soy, and the seed
Yeah.
oils.
Yeah.
And so
It's what they're consuming that changes it all in their environment, what they're exposed to, right? So let's say if there's mercury in the water or toxins, well, the fish will be contaminated, or the poultry or whatnot. That will not give you the nice, clean, and natural meat that you're that we all want, as let's say a partridge or a wild game would have, because I mean all these the origins of let's say of the feed, GMO based. A lot of them are GMO based, and there's no way around if you're buying from a co-op, unless you have a farm where they can graze. There's not much way around that for, let's say, a better quality of food that they're intaking. So again, that changes the outcome and the aspect of the meat itself and the animal.
yeah, it seems like if we were to start consuming more of these foods, I like to kind of call them like foods that are ancestrally appropriate foods we would have eaten 150 years ago, right? That
Yeah.
never seemed to cause problems. We didn't have all this disease we have around today.
Yes.
How do we get to producing more quality meat to feed the entire world? Because it seems that as though, if everyone overnight, of course it doesn't happen this way, but if everyone overnight started consuming ruminant animal meat, which is the highest quality, ruminant is classified as, it has multiple stomachs, but also it should be fed on pasture, right?
Yeah.
So how do we support that?
That's a good question, and that's that's a very vast because there are a lot of people in the world, but let's say my view, from my experience and my knowledge, would be we as a human being are different needs. Everybody eats differently and has different needs in consumption. And I think, in my view, is we are over consuming a lot, eating too much. We could cut down on our consumption of food itself and just have the proper amount of protein we need to function, and having let's say, more diverse diet, and consuming red meats for a certain amount of time. Let's say if you're a hardworking person, physically, you need that strength, you need the stamina. If you are somebody who works more, let's say, office work or less physical, well, then you can afford to eat white meats, which would be more a leaner type of meat where it gives you less energy. But then again, with cross-referencing with greens, having your greens there for antioxidants, which cleans your body, what gives you more energy, it raises your energy, because your body will run on a cleaner, let's say, engine or whatnot. Like, let's say, the acidity of your body. You want to keep it more alkaline than acidic. In ways, well, lemon helps to regulate that. So, I mean, I don't want to get into the too much in detail of the diet aspect, but I think there's a way of, like, even me, myself, I've lowered my consumption of everything. And I feel I'm more energetic because I'm lighter. I don't have as much breakdown happening in my body for the energy I need to function.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I to a certain extent, I like kind of where you're going with the whole. There is a certain, we have to figure out. You touched on how we're not all identical. Our bodies do work differently, and we have some genetics. Some person might require just a little bit more meat than some others with less ancestral DNA or more adapted DNA. But essentially, how do we increase the production and encourage? I mean, first of all, I think we should support people in your industry, and especially those who. I mean, even a grain-fed cow is still has value, but all the more people such as yourself who are raising cattle traditionally, it seems like it's hard work, and that it should be rewarded, to a certain extent. Whereas we're supporting these local, responsible animal husbandry, because these animals are also happier when they live on pasture, and that creates a higher quality. So how do we support our local growers more? I mean, aside from purchasing their products.
Well, I say support them by posting on social media for them, buying their products, yes, going to local farmers markets, participating in certain local events that include the farming industry. being aware of your surroundings for local produce, which would encourage local and let's say in a certain sense take the power back for the community instead of going outside of the country trying to inside of the country.
Yeah, like essentially if we're going to the grocery store all the time, which is sourcing their food from hundreds of kilometers away,
We're supporting.
we're bringing in sourcing it. So I mean, if I
Yeah.
say aside from buying the product, I mean, I think buying your products is probably the first and foremost the most important.
Yeah, the strongest point for sure. But I mean,
Yeah.
to let's say get the word out there to for more awareness of other people knowing that. Well, if you do post on social media, oh I know him. Oh okay, now yeah, they see you in the picture or they see you sharing, which then gives them oh well I didn't know about this farmer. What kind of produce do they have, right? And from my view, with the market we're in North Bay, that's exactly the point. Is we are to be part of that market. It's got to be 100 kilometers radius, and you're part of a My Pick program, which they need to investigate and check to make sure it is your produce and it's not coming out of somewhere else to sell at the market. So that to me is a big start for an expansion. And we are actually talking about all these grains that the cash crop farmers around here are doing. We might be looking into having a factory within the 100 kilometers for all these local farmers to refine right here in Ontario or Northern Ontario. So we don't have to send our cash crop grains outside and get them shipped back in.
Yeah, and then we might have more say on if something gets sprayed with a pesticide or not.
Exactly, that's exactly the point.
Yeah.
Then we could, at a certain point in time, once we got all these building blocks in place, we will have control of the market and the product, so we will be able to have more say into what we accept and what we don't, even from outside sourcing, even from government, because we are the producers.
Right. So the faster we start supporting farmers, even up until about a year ago, I didn't even know there was any grass-fed beef within 50, 100 kilometers of myself. And, you know, I found 4 or 5 different farms that all, you know, pasture. I mean, there's varying quality, but I think there was a lot more than I thought. So, I mean, that's encouraging right there. And then, so the more we encourage the purchase of local products, you know, the faster we can establish our own local food supply chain and
sustainable local supply chain, which we can build infrastructures to support and sustain local. We wouldn't have to go outside. And when we get to achieve that, that's when the prices will start dropping locally. Because right now what's regulating the prices is the stock market, which is run from the outside and not the inside. So
right, the fluctuating stock of the different grains and whatnot.
Grains and, well, it's another subject on its own, but it's, so to regulate that, you got to keep it in-house. Because let's say, for example, if I go pick in your garden to make confection or other produce, I bring it home and I bring it back to you and sell it back to you, to the public, well then you have another leg there that you need to supply or pay to create that produce when it could have been made in-house, which at a lesser cost once the factories and infrastructures are in place and paid off. Prices go down and we can keep them down because we have control of our market. We're not subject to, well, the gas went up. Okay, well, we don't have any gas in between here. There's not much gas involved. So it's all of a relative aspect of, if you buy local, you support local, it will come back to you at a certain point in time.
And so, you know, with some of these grains, you know, if we knew these grains were clean and they didn't have pesticides on them, and even having a mix of, you know, you had some cows a small selection of that during the winter. Instead of hay, maybe they got some grains, just to kind of keep them more satisfied during the winter time.
More, let's say the grains help in the wintertime to get them to have a thicker coat of fat for them to go through the wintertime. Because the grass and the hay itself, it's not much of a energy, if you want to, so to speak, in the hay compared to the grain. Because with the grain, there's a lot more vitamins in the grain for them to
As
get
opposed
through
to the
winter.
hay, because we don't have a 24/7 all year round summer here in Canada, so that's the challenge, is we kind of have to adapt well.
Yes.
And I think it's not. I don't think it's a big issue if someone is having some grain-fed ruminant animal meat, because the ruminant animal can, to a certain extent, filter out some of those extra omega-6s and get them out.
Yes.
Whereas a monogastric animal like a pig or a chicken wouldn't necessarily be able to do that.
Yeah, true.
And
I agree.
and then there's also the thing is, I'm also searching for things like raw milk, and I found some raw goat's milk at the farm, and I
Yeah.
love that, but I also want to be able to enjoy some raw cow's milk
Right.
as well. And so if I was perhaps able to enjoy some raw cow's milk, I would really want it to be 100% grass-fed, because the issue with raw milk is it's going to get a little dirty, and a cow that isn't completely healthy, I wouldn't necessarily trust drinking raw milk from, right?
No, for sure, yeah.
Do you know anyone who is, it's technically bootleg here in Canada because it's illegal.
Yes.
So you can't really
No,
go by
at this
name,
point in
but,
time, I mean, we do have a farmer. He does have cows, and they do graze in the field, so they're partially a grass-fed cow. How much grain ratio do they eat? I'm not sure. I haven't been in contact that much to know their function, but yeah, they do. On occasion, we could go pick our milk before it leaves to go to, but that, like you're saying, it is illegal. You can't do that, or else you get shut down.
Right.
Yeah, if you get caught giving milk without it being sent out and to the health unit, the health process, it's a big offense in the health unit's point of view, and you're looking at fines and possibly getting shut down.
Right.
But for the neighbors or people they trust, yes, you can go fill up your jug.
Right. But
And
it's not
bring it.
allowed to be an official commercial activity.
No, you can't.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's very sad.
Market-wise, you can't. Not that at this point in time, is it bad? I've drank that milk all my life, and we never were sick.
Raw milk, it has some properties in it,
Eesh.
like all of the enzymes and the bacteria that help you digest the milk. And everyone's having these milk allergies. Well, it's because we've been exposed to so much pasteurized milk.
Yeah.
And not only is it pasteurized, but it's depleted of nutrients because it hasn't lived a cow's life
Exactly.
that it would have lived 150 years ago. And so now we have this urbanized milk that no one can really seem to digest. And I think milk even has some synergistic qualities, especially for males, since they don't have a menstruation, as far as iron goes, and maintaining a healthy iron level in the body. I
agreed.
consume a fair bit of meat, which is also high in phosphorus, and so the milk and the lactoferrin helps to balance the iron and your ferritin levels so that you don't get too much, because unless you want to start doing monthly phlebotomies, if you're eating about 1.2 pounds of meat a day,
Yeah.
your iron levels are going to go up the body does have ways to manage that and
Mm-hmm.
taper down its absorption of iron, but as far as the only
It's
issue I've really found with red meat, it doesn't seem to cause cancer like it's purported to,
no.
or I think it's the furthest thing from the truth to claim that
Yeah.
the saturated fats in meat cause any cardiovascular
Yeah.
disease at all.
No.
It seems as though the messenger, which is the LDL cholesterol that goes high, that your
Mm-hmm.
doctor wants to give you a statin for,
Yeah.
uh, it just seems that this guy is really nothing to blame, but it's the omega-6 that comes in and
Yeah.
oxidizes that little LDL, and then he becomes sticky. And then your immune
Mm.
cells, your macrophages want to hop on, and then it sticks inside your blood and creates the clots, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And that's in tandem with the high blood pressure. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, the exact science behind what we're talking about, 100%. It's far in between, but one thing I know for sure is we don't know anymore in the stores what we're actually consuming. We just don't know because what's in there and what's being said on the labels, they don't reflect.
Yeah, like a can of pop even has been found to have 3 times the
Yeah.
calories because of the high fructose corn syrups. If they just made the pop the way they did back in the old days with, real sugar, real glucose, and it wasn't the
Yeah.
high fructose corn syrup,
Yeah.
it actually wouldn't be so bad for you. I
Yeah.
think
Well, your
we've
body,
consumed sugar for hundreds of years.
yeah, the breaking down would be easier and more natural. Versus now is the body is not recognizing what all these what not chemicals, but
It's processed.
yeah, the process is like your body doesn't recognize that, so you can't break it down. It can't break it down properly for absorption or excretion. So it's like it's left inside the body dormant as a carcinogen in a certain sense once you're saturated, right? And then at a certain point in time, it releases or has a chemical reaction, and there you go. You have cancer, or you're having a reaction to like an allergy of some sort or some shape or form, right? So I believe that yes, it's what we're eating is unknown because there's too many trials of all kinds of scientific studies and trials to lose weight through certain products or to create more different types of vitamins to adapt to the body in a certain way, which was not happening 100 years ago.
Yeah, it's like a gamed system, right? Like even all like the scientific studies you're referencing, we have no way of trusting them because the people sitting on the boards of these governmental, they create the food guides,
The
and then the
political
people who
science
sit on the board that dictates what the food guide
and
tells the
regulates.
people.
Yeah.
They're connected to Nestle and Mondelez, who create all the the crazy
Yeah.
chips and seed oils and
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
yeah. So they're not going to tell us. They have no incentive to really tell us what's going to cause us
No,
harm
it's
because
like
they're bought out.
yeah, exactly. It's like the white lie, partial truth, right? Okay, it wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. So you're left in between of like, well, what is happening really? What really is in there? And then when you're seeing all these diseases coming out and all these people having different ideas or having depression or all these, well, back in the day, of course there's a lot of variables. Yes, technology has changed. Yes, there's a lot more influence. There's a lot more stimulation. But the fundamental part of health itself, we didn't have all the diseases and allergies back in the day. So that alone, to me, is a red flag that yes, there is something going on, and we need to be aware. And how do you resolve that? Go back to basics. Simple. And try it from there. And
Simple
study
stuff. Go
yourself.
visit your local farmer.
Yeah.
Pick up some produce, some
Start
good
there.
quality cuts of meat.
Yeah.
Go visit.
And I encourage people to, when they do want to go that route, take your blood levels, your sugar levels, your pressure, everything in your body. Go for what do you call those when you go get your blood tested for all
some labs. Get
yeah,
some labs.
get lab work done. And once you start eating locally at, let's say, 60-70%, get your lab work done in a month from now and see where you're at, if they've improved. And go from there and find your own truth.
Yeah, well, that's certainly, you do your own tests because you don't know the tests that they're doing it in the labs. You don't know how gamed the studies are. You just we were mentioning the apparition of all of these novel diseases and even when we talk about the thing of lifespan. And it appears, we want to give credit to all of these modern pharmaceuticals. And we want to give credit to all of these vaccines. And we want to give credit to all of these modern surgical interventions for improving our lifespan. Well, lifespan doesn't matter if you don't have the quality of life during that lifespan. We give credit to all of these things while ignoring the advancement of we have clean drinking water throughout most of the population now. We don't have horses with their excretions out in the street, and the rats and the pests and all the parasites and the endotoxins that come with that. Our sewer systems are good now, so we have proper sanitation. We don't have a sewer right next to the street with all of that. And in homes, we have P-traps to keep the sewer gases out of the houses. Yeah. And so all of these silent things that we don't give any credit to
have improved, yes, to a certain degree, have improved our lifestyles, which makes our lifestyle easier, which would automatically give you more life versus back in the day you used to work harder and have to endure harder, what do you call that there? Not atmosphere, but your hot, like you didn't have any AC to cool you down. You have to jump in the river or the lake, right? But then if you go to bed at night, you'd be sweating all like can't catch any sleep. Well, now in our days, we have cooling systems. Well, if you get a better sleep, you should have a better quality of life the next day because you're more rested.
That's right. There's so many things we're not giving credit to that has improved our health quite a bit. And then we're also ignoring the fact that the quality of the food we eat has also gone substantially down.
Big time.
And then also the average lifespan is greatly affected by the fact that in neonatal care, we're saving many more babies' lives. And when you have someone who only lives to age 0, that brings the average down quite a bit.
Yes.
So really, lifespan hasn't gone up that much.
No,
and we can't give credit to all of these.
No, you're right, because I still have grandparents that are 96 years old today, and they're in great shape. But they were born and raised in an environment where they had to walk to school 2-3 miles a day. They had to go and pick the blueberries to sell to make their clothes. They were sleeping in straw beds. So they had that life, and look at them today. They're still. Hello. They're still in very good health, and now they're benefiting from the new lifestyle that is available to them. Cooler temperatures, walkers, places where they can actually have.
Hi.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet
Nathaniel.
you. I've come to pick up blueberries.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I brought my basket there and I'll bring the dogs. I can
Okay.
go at my place, but I don't have dogs to follow me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the bear comes, and hopefully they'll run after them before me.
Perfect. You'll be perfect for the podcast there.
Wait.
Say hi.
Oh,
No,
Yeah.
that's all right.
Yeah.
We're just finishing
We'll,
up.
we're cutting it out.
It was great to chat and
Hey, hey, bear. Get down, you.
no, yeah, we left off at kind of honoring the way our ancestors lived.
Yes.
I think that's a good point that you ended on, and if we bring more honor to, the hard work that our grandparents did, I think
Yeah.
we'll be a lot more better off.
Well, I think we need to take a step back and meld both of them together to get the quality of life they had, but with the advancements we have today.
Right.
Because everything's a tool in my view. I mean, you can use a tool to better or for the worst. Are we using the tools available now for the better or for the worse? What's the intent? It's the intent that changes the outcome. So the intent is for the greater good. You will do things in the best interest of all and not just yourself. And that means you want to see things prosper and not thrive, not survive, right? So I think as a global picture, if our leaders aren't doing that or aren't performing as we want to, we need to take things back in our control with the resources we have, because the resource is the power, is the fundamental of our life, our health. Go back to our roots, readjust, and support our local and be aware of what is going on and what are you willing to buy into for your personal life. Treat things as a family. What would you want for your kids? Is this the best? Get informed, get educated on. If you don't know, that's fine. That's okay. And that's we're in a world and a generation where there's a lot of misinformation out there. It's hard to tell now between truth and a lie. You almost have to be there physically to witness it, to know if is it for the better or not. Well, like I said, if you want to try it on your own, don't believe everything you hear. Take bits of everything and then test it out and see for yourself. How do you feel? Like I got people with celiac disease that come as clients at the market, and if they eat the meat from the stores, the Metro, well, I don't want to put any names out there really, but from the store, they're sick, very sick, and to the point that they could possibly die. So when they buy our product, our produce, is they need to know 100% grass-fed, no grains at all.
Yeah, because the
Zero
glutens,
grains.
the lectin, well, gluten technically is a lectin, right? It's a protein. And they've actually found that it doesn't accumulate in cows as much. It accumulates more in the chickens and the pigs, but it's still there in the cows. So it makes sense that you're saying that.
Yeah, so in my view, when I get these clients, I'm like, if it can make them sick at that point and could possibly make them to a point of death, well, we eat it, got a better system that can take it, different enzymes, but it's intoxicating our system, saturating it to a point where you might develop a disease, you might develop an allergy. Makes them sick as hell, bedridden. But for us, it brings your energy down, sluggishness, no energy, depression. It feels like you're in a cloud all the time. Well, a lot of times and I've had a lot of clients tell me when they ate the meat for about 3 weeks, they feel better, their gut circulation, they can go to the washroom normally, less constipation, more energetic. They feel like they can do more. I've had a lot of comebacks and feedbacks, and that's why I encourage all these people to put reviews on Facebook, just so it's not I'm saying this. These are witnesses of people that actually have witnessed it and felt the difference.
Yeah, no, I think it's true for people who are suffering. In many cases, a pure, I would say a pure carnivorous diet has actually found benefits. I've done it for about 2 weeks just to kind of see it.
Like a
I think
keto?
I think no, just pure carnivore. Well, technically, there's so many different versions of keto.
True.
I think the version of keto that includes certain kinds of oils and lesser quality poultry can be quite dangerous.
Yeah.
But if it's a more ruminant animal-based keto, that that can be better. But I've seen significant advantages in just utilizing clean carbohydrates such as fruit. The part of
Yeah.
the planet kind of actually wants you to eat.
Yes.
And even the leafy greens,
Yeah.
there's going to be some form of thing that will irritate the gut a little bit. But a little bit of irritation, I think, is okay. But there's also, certain plants have medicinal benefits, right?
Yes.
So, you can't just eat zero plants, or do that. But selectively, with intention, I like how you used the word intention earlier. You select the things that you think your body needs at a certain time. Sometimes it can be an exposure to mold in your home or that kind of thing that can trigger all these allergic reactions.
Yes.
But it can also happen that you are also susceptible to the mold because of diet too. But I think it's more important sometimes to focus on addressing your environment and making sure it's clean before doing these extreme carnivore diets and things like that. But I still like these diets, at least for what they have revealed as far as information, is like, oh, someone really can clear all of their autoimmune diseases by focusing on ruminant animal meats, fruits, honey, raw dairy, raw butters, and all of these, healing animal foods. It's really interesting.
Well, it's like, let's say for your disease, like they say the building blocks or the fuel for cancer is sugar. So if you're aware of that and alkalinity of your body, acidity, if your body's totally acidic, fuels the environment for the cancer. While knowing this, let's say tomorrow you cut out all the sugars, at least the artificial ones. You're cutting off the fuel for your cancer to expand or even thrive in your body. So if you were to cut out all sugars completely, let's say you go for 3 months and you're just on the carnivore diet, by definition, the cancer should
Yeah,
go
and I've
away.
heard of some success stories in that. And at the same time of focusing on a ruminant animal meat carnivore diet, they're also cutting out the omega-6 at the same time as the sugar, which
Double benefit.
it seems as though once sugar metabolism is broken
Yeah.
by some of these toxins or omega-6, that's when the cancer starts to fuel from sugar. But if we don't introduce some of these omega-6s, well then, or if we eliminate them to a certain point, well then we might be able to heal our sugar metabolism and be able to consume sugars again. But I do believe that in cases where some of these diseases have already developed, there might be some benefit to cutting down the sugar and trying to starve it in some way. But yeah, it's challenging. It's certainly challenging, and I wish we would also put just as much emphasis on the prevention of diseases as we do the cure. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
But again, see, now we are back into what are you consuming? The products out there. Are they benefiting your body, or is it just good for taste? Right?
Yeah.
Because it's addicting. We all know sugars are addicting. I mean, I'm no exception. I like sugar. even knowing this. I try to regulate it better though, because I'm more aware. But I do like the odd cake or the odd meat, not meat, but I mean the that's in there. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I go to Leisure Farms, hey, they got all these goodies. I mean, we all eat them, but I mean, then it's like balancing out. So then you need to know at a certain point in time, okay, so I ate so many sugars, I gotta balance out some way, shape or form.
Eat the good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff and cleanse your body. Work out. By working out, by circulating the blood, by getting all the air and the oxygen in your body, that helps to cleanse, right? And high antioxidant foods as well help in the process. So you can cut out and you can take more intake of the good stuff. And physically move, which all that tied together is a winner's mentality. You will get better by definition. It has no choice. So yeah, you gotta stay focused on your health and on what benefits. What are your benefits? What benefits you? Focus on that. What does your body need? What will bring you the life that you prefer? Is it eating cookies all the time? Don't think so, right? So it's all about balance, in my view, at a certain point in time. And balancing out how you see things and what you eat is going to give you a better quality of life. Don't wait until you have a disease or you're in some shape or form weakened by something. Get in there, learn now, and get better, and adapt your lifestyle.
It's a good point. Do something while you got the momentum.
Yes.
Well, thanks for taking the time to chat.
Yeah.
I know you got some things to get to, so I should let you get to those.
Sure.
And
sure.
gotta get
I
back
appreciate
home and
your
cook
time.
dinner and
Yeah.
get ready. So yeah,
Cool.
really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, this
thanks.
is fun.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like this.